Hey, Mr. CEO and everyone. My name is Mike Trocchia, proud employee of the 6-in-1 Sig Marvel innovators of the lean-tastic world, and welcome to my solution study for this unique situation. Please recline, relax, and I hope you all enjoy the ride. We saved a fortune on our name and could allocate the saved funds on our superior solution smithing processes. Good deal in my opinion. So let's dig in. To assist various parts of the presentation, a certain methodology to give the presentation itself that stabilizing structure it needed was utilized. That structure is known as the Six Sigma DMAIC method, coupled with direct mixing into the report structure. Looking at each piece, the first part of our objectives were as follows: defining the goals through looking at the project charter, and measuring quality and surrounding standards and attributes through the outreach campaigns. To continue, the latter stages of the presentation involved analyzing the chances for success by examining the opportunities, followed by improving main and alternative models through various diagrams and prioritization schemes, and verifying the results by closely scrutinizing the conclusions. As one can envision from the customized model, I hope you're able to get a concrete idea of what is to come shortly. The reason the colors are mixed is to show how each component branches into and connects the prior and future steps together. This method was used throughout the presentation and aided in the metaphorical connecting of the dots from concept to creation and ultimate proposal culmination to offer this company a definitive answer to increase market share value and bring the company back into the spotlight. You will find out more details soon. Don't go anywhere. Things are about to get very interesting and exciting. Here is the first part of my overview of the project charter for this company's loss of market share study. This part examines the problem or opportunity statement, goals and deliverables, the objectives, stakeholders, and financials. So, the main goal is to regain the market share lost over the course of the past 12 months, and we have a few methods in mind to do just that. All of these components are intricate parts of the reformation process to get the company back on the right track. Here is the second part of my overview for the project charter for this organization's Lean Six Sigma focused study. The categories examined this time around are the KPIs, key performance indicators, team members, responsibilities of each team member, risks and constraints, and the rough timeline. The chief KPI is how much market share is regained and what the company can ultimately do with that regained puzzle piece. All of these categories should give way to some ideas as to how the groundwork will be laid out to tackle this problem and leads into the ensuing phases of this demonstration. Next, here's a look into the first part of the measure phase of this process, which involves one of the most common but powerful check sheet type methods in existence: surveys. We had employees travel to all the restaurants' locations across the country, gathering one survey per market location. Each candidate had to answer each of the 6 categories provided as truthfully and honestly as possible. From this examination, here's what they found. From the consensus, the customers appeared to seem okay with most of the aspects of the business, but there is an overwhelmingly negative push that is directing the business in the wrong direction. This may have contributed to the loss in market share and must be addressed to lead the way to resolving the problems taking place. As we burrow further into the measurement phase tunnel, this section brings us to the keys to measure the components critical to quality. That section would be the tree diagram, which will break down the process and examine the categories set in place, overarching goals, and how to attain those goals. This will give the company solid footing to proceed forward with the revamping plan, as it clearly outlines the tools necessary, such as Fishbone analyses and Pareto charts to outline the work. Then, through the personnel and supply chain functionalities such as R&D and supplier relationship management, this will detail the kind of teamwork and support needed to carry out the mission and keep quality at the center and forefront to attain the desired results. Next, we will examine the analyzing phase of the process as we continue to diagnose what went wrong with the company's loss of market share. That being said, let us take a gander at the Process Decision Program Chart, PDPC, in order to determine how to handle all situations thrown in the air that may get in the way of this redesign. The main sections to help improve the market share include customer outreach, updates to infrastructure, refining the product menu, and redesigning the order management system. So, this PDPC chart gives us a decent idea on what areas to examine in the forthcoming phase of this project. Digging into the core of the analytical side of my presentation, we have the fishbone analysis. So, let's examine the skeletal outlining of the root causes behind the 30% loss in market share over the past 12 months. Each of the bones here may not appear too appetizing, but rest assured they are loaded with plenty of quality vitamins and minerals. Now, let us get into the main courses and discuss the method of effectively consuming this beast. As such, the bones involved were the environment, measurements, methods, materials, machines, and the personnel involved in the process itself. So, just like in peers, please take the time to properly process this information as not to get too overwhelmed. Done processing? Good. Because we came to the conclusion that a full network examination, induction of formal training, press management, measurement ambiguity, resource inconsistency, and potential layoffs will contribute to the root cause of the problem and should be scrutinized carefully to get to the bottom of this. To further my increasingly intricate investigation, say that 3 times fast, a failure mode and effects analysis, FMEA, along with a Pareto analysis were conducted. From the FMEA, various subject areas such as website errors, R&D problem-solving problems, and shareholder reluctance were examined. It became apparent that the website and firmware errors were the most critical area that may fail and must be examined carefully. As a suggestion, the company may want to hire very qualified IT personnel to assist, as the order management and system requirements are dependent on this phase of the business. The FMEA study was utilized as a springboard for the Pareto analysis to continue the narrative. Obtaining details behind the vital few was the goal, as the company has many locations and it is better to focus on reform from the few and most populous than the broad and varied. Therefore, looking at the breaking point in the Pareto diagram, I believe that the executive should be recommended highly to focus on the following top 3 USA states to revamp and reimagine the company image: New York, Florida, and Texas. This way, the check sheet, fishbone, and other analyses will be utilized to their full potential to lead the way to regain that market value. In order to carry out a resolute reboot, not only does one have to have their priorities straight, they have to have their prioritization matrix sharp to a T in order to improve the process for all to enjoy. That is the principle we will be applying to this prioritization matrix to redefine the company's business. From this matrix, it appears that the key to redo the business is through the assistance of specialists, such as ourselves, to assist and point the company in the right direction. We will carry this principle forward as we continue our investigation into anticipated success routes. Here are the details. So the categories include the internal leadership, which is focused on strong communication and dedication to solving problems. News management, which is focused on keeping the news media as positive as possible through interviews and the potential introduction of steady advertisements to spread the word of the products and services. There is also talent importation, which is focused on bringing in subject area experts from outside the company. There is customer management, which is focused on showing the customer that their voices are truly heard and changes will occur. We see that the customers of the company appear to be health conscious, enjoy eating in the outdoors, prefer organic ingredients, and want their food delivered quickly. That being said, that will all be considered and taken into account through this option. We will also look at the manufacturer's ability, which is focused on the production team's ability to flip the coin and institute business operation modifications on the fly. There is also supply chain harmony, which is focused on utilizing the supply chain system in place to be the bulk of support to carry out the solutions. And there is innovation management, which is focused on R&D and production and engineers' ability to work together and to create the solution to the problem through increased resource allocation management and other distribution and various doubling down and tripling down type measures. So the rating methodology was basically based on the impacts of and how much of a factor they are and can be magnified to show the outside how determined the company is to regain and improve the company itself and capitalize on market value and presence. A devotion to quality and the roots of Lean Six Sigma, efficiency, productivity, and waste reduction may be the answer to these issues, but the customer should always be number one regardless of anything. Please note that each scenario is completely hypothetical and designed to simply present options to reach a solution to the issue and bring the issue to upper management's attention. That being said, it appeared that selection E for the customer focus strategy was the key, as it aimed at fixing the relationship with their core business partner through increased safety, enthusiasm, and never-ending drive for quality. Now, without further ado, you have made it to the final stage of the presentation, which involves controlling. But before we get to that, I just want to explain the scoring criteria here. So, for each option, the focus was ×3 for the main category utilized. Then, the neighboring options were multiplied by either 1 or 2, depending on the relationship to the main focus area itself. So, the closer the relationship, the ×2 designation was given, and the more distant the relationship, the ×1 designation was given. That is how these scores were brought about. Now, like I said, let's move on. Ever enduring, we venture into the last phase of the project, which is the controlling phase, to control the solution itself. Therefore, let's see where the impact and effort movements factor into the overhaul of this organization's operations and resolve a thing or two along the way. So there are 4 main solutions: the easy one, the 2 medium effort routes, and the hard one. Can you guess which ones are most worth it? Yes, the easy one is only a temporary fix. The 2 medium ones may last a bit longer than the easy route, but the hard route is the most involved and will result in the most worthwhile solutions due to its built-to-last mentality, at least for the process. That being said, everyone must pool their efforts together here to bring about the blockbuster solution to pull the company out of the crevice and avoid a mess to ensure calculated success for years to come. As we venture deeper into the control phase, we must take into account measures to ensure that the potential modes of fault and problems discussed earlier do not occur. We take a look at the company website and have proposed a revision to make accessing and utilizing the information much easier. So we have proposed to upgrade the website to secure servers, embedded direct links to redirect expand to desired pages, organized and made the site more visually appealing to help wrap everything into a nice package. So through all of these measures, this will allow the customer to effortlessly place an order, gain company information, and ask a question and or give feedback. This means that the customer will have a much better experience getting their desired product service and be able to learn more about the company along the way and launch comments if additional matters may arise. Looking at the Fishbone analysis, Pareto chart, impact effort analysis, and other tools, we have been able to revise the failure mode table as such. So the website and firmware category has huge components of the problem at hand, according to the prioritization matrix conducted. So this category was reevaluated. The cross-department synergy disconnects, not meaning the chaos, was resolved. So yes, meetings can become disorderly due to disruptors such as dominant or overbearing individuals, or be subject to tangents. But tools are set in place to mitigate these outcomes. That leaves us to focus on the main issue, which is whether or not the team will be able to come together effectively to solve the problem at hand. R&D and problem solving remains a top concern. The ratings have been increased for importance and in accordance with the prioritization matrix study, Interfocus. The next matter would be the consultant assistance instead of shareholder reluctance. As the situation at hand is resolved, shareholder reluctance will disappear post-successful company essential relaunch, as this factor is more a consequence rather than a component of the system itself. This allows us to fully focus on consultant assistance, as they appear to be one of the key forces to assist the company with overhauls and bring the vision back on track. The asterisks are to indicate that different firms will be more or less likely to admit detection of the failure modes. Please rest assured, though, if we are chosen to move further with this project, we will keep our high transparency throughout the process to minimize adverse outcomes. Examining the Pareto chart, it appears prudent to focus on the top 3 negatively outspoken states and attempt to change their view on the company. Focusing on the vital few versus all facilities, this will help us narrow down the focus and allow the company to repair their image in the most outspoken areas first. Then, through a pseudo trickle-down effect, the positivity should spread post-relaunch to the other states that expand and gain new store locations in the process as well. From the Fishbone diagram, one of the key takeaways was the need for a solid plan. Without it, the company will not be able to execute its mission to regain the public's good side and showcase that they can meet their needs and wants. Now, let's move on to the penultimate slide of the presentation. This is it, my friends, the final phase of our journey and the cap to the control phase itself. None other than the control plan. I chose to go forward with a dynamic plan versus static, as the DMAIC method is rooted in an ever-evolving process which revolves around adapting to current situations at hand in a timely and efficient mannerism. That being said, the control is based upon following the 5 main steps outlined in the useful apparatus slide. These are define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. The interlocks between each of the steps involved and the tools and management and planning techniques mentioned throughout the presentation, from the check sheet to the Fishbone analysis to the Pareto chart to the FMEA and beyond, were all integral components of this diagram and process methodology. So, in order to advance between the steps, the respective groups and members had to be on board with the teachings and lessons learned. If not, this would cause a delay and result in additional training sessions before they could advance. Luckily, once the retraining methods or techniques were applied and properly received, they may advance onward and outward. Once all that was complete, if the desired solution is reached from the existing framework, you are good to go. If not, the cycle repeats and continuous improvement proceeds until the end product is as perfect as it can possibly be. Essentially, unless a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt sheds a tear of joy, you have not reached perfection yet. But with the help of our team, we will enable you to reach that milestone effortlessly and not only regain that market share lost, but seek to double the gains in the near future. Thanks for watching, everyone. That concludes my main presentation. I sincerely hope you all enjoyed, and if you have any questions, feel free to direct them to my attention at any time. But I feel like this is the proper method and techniques and everything else necessary has been incorporated into this presentation to properly recoup the market value lost and bring this company back into the forefront. Also, if you have the time, please feel free to join me at the meet and greet in project management afterwards. As one road ends, it leads to another. Thanks for everything, Professor. You have a great summer, and let's be sure to keep in touch. Wait, don't go. There's still a few more nuggets of information within the appendix, right after the references slide, if you would like to take a look. Please be sure to examine at least the very last slide, as it gives a nice snapshot of the main quality and management and planning tools utilized throughout the presentation. Otherwise, please take care, and I wish you all the best. Here are the sources utilized for this presentation. Also, any and all background music utilized for this presentation was generated by myself through the app called Music Maker Jam.